Today I'm going to show you how to make basic sourdough country bread. This delicious, easy to make bread will have the rich, slightly tangy flavor of sourdough and all the nutrients and combinations of your ripe sourdough starter, fresh all-purpose flour, combined with a portion of whole wheat flour. Now the first thing we're going to do here is get the right mix of flour. 900 grams white flour. And 100 grams of whole wheat. Simple country bread. Perfect. So in this step we need to mix sourdough starter, water, and flour. This is called the autolyse step. Autolyse means to hydrate the flour essentially and start mixing the ingredients together. We need 200 grams sourdough starter, 700 grams of 85-degree water. It's because my kitchen's a little cooler in the winter. Some people who may have a warmer kitchen could use 80-degree water. So we're going to mix this just enough to just sort of loosen it up a bit. I'm going to take it off the scale for this next step because we've already measured out our flour. We measured out our starter and our water. Now it's just really a matter of mixing it all together. And here we have 900 grams of white flour and 100 grams of whole wheat. 1,000 grams of flour. That's what we call baker's percentage. So we just need to mix this enough so that all this beautiful raw flour gets hydrated. It'll make a little bit of a shaggy mix initially. And then we're going to let this beautiful mix sit for about 20 minutes to a half hour. It's usually good to really let that water absorb into the beautiful flour. So at this stage you'll want to cover your dough mixture, keep the moisture retained inside the bowl. Let that sit for half an hour. Okay, now that we've given this a chance to let all that wonderful water absorb, we're going to add 20 grams of salt, and 50 grams of warm water. Now it's time to mix. Put a little bit of water on our hands so that we can keep it from sticking just a little bit. Just keep turning, pulling it up and folding it over. Turn, pick it up, fold it over. Turn the dough, pick it up, fold it over. And then the pincher method. Pinch, 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 pinch all the way across the dough. And continue to stretch and fold. Just a few more times. The pincher method, well, I can't even say it. Pincher method just helps to really ensure that that salt and the extra water get incorporated deep into the dough. Turn and fold. Turn and fold. Turn and fold. One more turn. Stretch it out, fold it over. Pinch a little bit. All the way across. Just like that. There we go. Time to cover and rest. Let that beautiful ball of dough start to come alive. And we'll be back in a half an hour. dough has started to increase in volume a little bit and starting to smooth out. That's after one turn. So here we go with the second turn. We'll release it from the edge just a little bit. We'll pull it up and over. Up and over. Reach underneath. Pull the dough up and over. Up and over. And one more time. There we go. So we're 2 turns in. Starting to fill up very nicely now. See that? This may be the final turn. And we're just going to let it sit proof. Hope that it rises for the next 2 to 3 hours. Oh, look at that tension. It stretches very nicely now. Together is a beautiful, cohesive, beautiful ball of dough. After about 2 to 3 hours, your dough should have risen about 20% in volume. If you find that it's a little bit sluggish, maybe your kitchen's a little cooler, you can let it go and continue to rise for another hour or 2 and just keep checking on it till it's about 20%. At that point, it's time to divide the dough and get it ready to put into the proofing baskets. And so now it's time to turn out your dough onto your bench and get ready to divide. We're going to divide the dough into 2 approximately equal sized pieces, and those will be our 2 loaves of bread. In this step here, you want to lightly dust the top of your ball of dough with some flour. This will help us move it around and cut it with our bench knife. Now that we have 2 separate pieces of dough dusted on top with some flour, we're going to turn each piece, flip it over onto our bench, and what we need to do is start to pull it towards us to build some tension. It may be a little sticky, so you can put some flour, and then we'll just turn and pull towards us. Turn the dough, putting our hands in our scraper at about 10 and 2, just like driving a car. Turn the dough and pull it towards us, and that's going to tighten up the ball of dough and start to increase the tension just a little bit. So once again, we're going to lightly sprinkle some flour on top of each of the balls of dough. And after that, we're going to loosen it up from the bench with our bench knife and get ready to flip it over. Pick it up carefully. Let's not blow too much air out of our dough. And now it's time to stretch and fold. Pull from the bottom, fold it over about 2/3. Pull out from the sides, and then fold the right, and then fold the left, and then come up to the top of the ball of dough and stretch it out and over, and then roll up the entire piece. And now our first piece of dough goes into the proofing basket, which we've already added some flour to. Just lightly flour the proofing baskets before we put the dough. That'll keep it from sticking after it's proofed overnight in the refrigerator, and we're going to bake it in the morning. And so now with the second ball of dough, we're going to complete the same steps as we did with the first ball of dough by lightly flouring the top, loosening it from our board, gently turning it over, and then we're going to stretch and fold the same steps as the first ball, stretching from the bottom, from the sides, from the top. Roll it up and put it into the second proofing basket, which has already been lightly floured, so that the dough doesn't stick to the basket overnight. So now before we put it into the proofing basket, we're going to just shape it up a little bit more and bring some more tension into the ball by pulling with our pinkies on the board, pulling the dough toward us, pulling it toward us, shaping, lifting it up, placing it at the top of the board and pulling it back toward us. Notice how the top surface is getting really smooth and tight. Now we have a nice round ball. We can pick it up and gently place it in the proofing basket. And so now that your dough has had a long overnight proof in the refrigerator, gently turn it out onto a sheet of parchment paper and let's get ready to score the dough. The loaves are cut or scored to help them fully expand in the oven. An unscored loaf will not rise to its potential and will often burst open along the sides. So this helps you direct the way in which you want your loaves to open in the oven. Here I'm using an X-Acto knife because I didn't have a double-edged razor. But some bakers have a really fancy little tool they call a lame, L-A-M-E. And it's super sharp and gives you the precise cuts that you're looking for.
So congratulations, you have just baked a beautiful sourdough loaf of bread, some of the healthiest, tastiest bread that you could possibly have. You can't find this bread in most stores. If you like this video, please be sure to click the like, subscribe, and do leave comments and questions below. Thanks for watching.